Here is a speech, part of a speech from the Lubavitcher Rebbe on Yud Beis and Yud Gimel Tammuz, which he gave in the year 1969. 969. Okay. As we have learned before, and the Yud Beis and Yud Gimel Tammuz is the day that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe got out of exile. He was put into prison, sentenced to death, miraculously escaped that, and then his his sentence was commuted to 3 years in exile, and it ended up he only spent 9 days in exile, and then he was let out. He was told he was free on the 12th, and he got the papers on the 13th. And this is a big holiday in Chabad, and the reason is because the Lubavitcher Rebbe is not just the head of the Chabad movement, and the Chabad movement is also not just one particular movement in Judaism, and Judaism is not just one religion among all the religions in the world, but the fact Judaism is the only conveyor of the message of the Creator to his creation. What's the world being created for? That's what Judaism is. And Chabad is here to wake up all of the Jews do this thing. And the Rebbe is here to wake up all the Chabadniks, that they should wake up the Jews should wake up the world. That's supposed to be the job. Okay, so let's do it. Let's go. There it goes. So it says, Odos Yud Beis Yud Gimel Tammuz, regarding this 12th and the 13th day of Tammuz, when the Rebbe got out. And like we said so many times, but I'll just repeat it because maybe there's people that are listening for the first time. The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe was imprisoned. What's this? He was imprisoned in communist Russia, 1927, when Stalin was just killing people almost indiscriminately. And you could be just killed because Stalin thought that you were thinking, not now, but you were going to think about being a capitalist or something. So he killed 30 million people, 50 million people. Nobody knows to this day how many tens of millions he killed, but tens of millions for sure he killed. So the previous Rebbe was supposed to be one of them. It was the most oppressive systems maybe in the history of the world. Communism is pure evil, pure, terrible, awful evil, but it's very convincing. It's very convincing, and all the people were convinced. And combine that with anti-Semitism and etc. So the Rebbe was not in a good situation. His only ally was God, which ended up to be a pretty good ally. And it even defended Stalin, which who would think that God is stronger than Stalin? No, nobody could be stronger than Stalin. But God was stronger than Stalin and the whole communism. So it took like 60 years later, but the whole entire communist regime fell. And the Rebbe says it's because of this one episode, that there was one Jew who defied communism. And because of that, that was a chain effect that brought the whole entire evil edifice of communism tumbling down in years later. Okay, so here we go. Regarding this day, which is the 12th day of Tammuz, the day that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe was freed from his imprisonment, Asher Nesa, he was imprisoned because of Avoda Gadola, because of his big service of God and a service for the Jewish people. He sent out his Hasidim to make these secret schools and teach Torah, hundreds of them, in basements and weird places in forests and things, and told his Hasidim not to send their children to communist schools, which the whole thing of communism was education. Educating the people. Communism was just an idea. It was just an idea. It wasn't like Nazism or something that appealed to the nationalism of the people. And, you are Germans, your feet are on German soil. This is, it was just an idea. We're going to take over the world. We're going to take over with equality and with brotherhood and with love. and with practicality and with, right? Anyway, so the Rebbe had counter education. What was his education? That God exists and we have to serve God. And if you want to benefit all mankind, the way to do it is the way that God wants you to do it. Do what God wants, make a lot of money, give charity, right? Charity, it depends on your decision. Your decision. That's the opposite of communism. Communism says the government decides for you. The government gives charity. Right? You're as rich as the government tells you you're going to be. And that's the opposite. That's the opposite. So as a result, the best that a person could be was like Stalin. And according to Judaism, the best that you can be is like God. Right? It says you have to walk in his ways. You have to, the Dov Kabul. Okay, so it says, here's a big, because the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe defied Stalin, and that's if you want to call it the negative part of it. And the positive part of it is he did love every Jew and tried to educate as many Jews as possible, especially the children. I shared that he Harbatz's Torah, that he spread out Torah and strengthening Judaism, which that's what the Moshiach does. It's because of, that's two of the qualifications of Moshiach, that he spreads out Torah and he strengthens Judaism. Because of the previous Rebbe writes in his letter that he wrote for the 12th day of Tammuz, the first one, in the year of 1928. He was released from prison in 1927, and in 1928 he was still in Russia. But he celebrated his release, and he wrote a letter to all of his Hasidim. Usually the letters were written to all Judaism. And this is what he said: Ro'ui hu lekovo, it is fitting, it is proper to set this day of Yud Beis and Good Devil Tammuz, to establish it for a day of Hidvadut, of Hasidim getting together and talking, making festivities, and La'orot, and to arouse Lechizuk, to strengthen Torah and Judaism in every place according to that place, where that place is. Some places make a big festivity, some places make individual festivities, some places has to make secret festivities, wherever it is, but you should make festivities to strengthen Torah and Judaism. And this is going to talk about what's the difference between Torah and Judaism. Why Torah and Judaism? Strengthening the Torah, strengthening Judaism, what's the difference? Nevo'er has explained many times that everything that our rabbis said, that the rabbis said, everything that the Rebbe said is very, very exact, even regarding his regular day-to-day speech. You know, there's not a prepared, whatever it is, a prepared speech that you give, just ordinary speaking. Afilu benogei l'sichos chulin, even regarding to the words they said when they wanted to, tell someone to turn off the lights or whatever, anything. Every word came out, it was holy and exact. Shem tzorechim limud, and you have to learn from it. How much more so if we're talking about a word that he said intentionally, Torah, and he sent a letter to all of the Hasidim and essentially to all of the Jewish people, that he's telling us something very special in these words. The words have something special to them. And to our topic, we can be precise in the words that the previous Rebbe said, strengthening the Torah and Judaism. L'chiora, at first glance, Judaism, this is a general name, and it includes everything that's relevant to Judaism, to all the Jewish people, Jewish religion. Hein limud Torah, whether learning the Torah or whether keeping the commandments, the commandments which are from what they call from the Torah, the commandments which are from the rabbis, even the customs of Judaism. So it should have been enough for him to say in his letter to strengthen Judaism, Chazak Yadut. Why does it say to strengthen the Judaism and the Torah? Say strengthening Judaism, that's it, right? Well, Pashto, simply, his intention in this is to stress strengthening the Torah is when he added strengthening of the Torah, it means and he said this many times in his letters, Al derech avodaso b'harbatzas Torah, spreading out Torah. Simply what? To make schools for young children, chederim, what's called yeshivos, schools for older boys, shiri Torah, teaching Torah to working men. They can't sit all day and learn Torah, or to spread out Torah to other people, learning Torah. And there's Judaism is like all the customs and the deeds you do, the commandments. And Torah is actually sitting down and learning Torah. So, what's the question? If so, he should have said, he should have said, instead of strengthening Torah and Judaism, it should have said strengthening Judaism and the Torah. Now we're going to see why it's very important to say that the words of the Rebbe are exact. He has a very important message over here, and it's important to us. Judaism and Torah. Are they two things? Are they the same thing? Let's see. Also, we have to stress what he's to be exact and precise and learn what he says. Chizuk. What does it mean, strengthening the Torah? Usually, what he says is not strengthening the Torah, but usually when the Rebbe uses the language, is harbatzat Torah, to spread out the Torah. What do you mean strengthening the Torah? The Torah has to be strengthened. The Torah has to be advertised. Harbatzat Torah. So what does the Rebbe say in his letter? It says, today, Yud Beis Tammuz, we should make meetings all over, and it should be in order to strengthen the Torah and Judaism. So question number one, if you want to say it's two things, so first of all, say the general, strengthen Judaism and the Torah, right? Judaism is just the customs of the commandments, and Torah is the one detail. Why does it start out with Torah? Number two, why does it say strengthening the Torah? Okay, you're going to see the Rebbe wants something very important. Near Lomar, it seems maybe we can say like this, that one of the intentions of the previous Rebbe here is, it's not to arouse his Hasidim to do two separate things, strengthening in service of spreading out the Torah, and also strengthening and also strengthening Judaism, namely the commandments, etc. But the intention is that they're one thing. If you would have just said Torah, strengthening Torah, you just think maybe it's one thing. If you said Judaism, you might think it's another. So he said two things that they're together. Maybe we can say that's what he wanted to say. Don't leave one of them out. But the fact is, it's not really proper because you can't really strengthen Judaism in a way of proper way. First of all, you have to strengthen the Torah, and then you can strengthen Judaism. In other words, Judaism without Torah, it's not Judaism. So why not just say strengthening the Torah? That would have been good enough. We'll see. The idea of what is Judaism? Judaism, in its simple meaning, is kol hapashut. Move on to pashut. In the simple meaning, pirushu, it means klalos hanhagas yadut betor yudin, doing anything Jewish because you're a Jew. That's Judaism. But if a non-Jew keeps kosher, but a non-Jew decides that he wants to put a mezuzah on his door, right? That's not Judaism. That's not Judaism. On the other hand, if a Jew decides, he's going to eat corned beef, whatever food Jewish people eat, right? He's going to eat falafel. That's also not Judaism. Judaism means that you do what Jews do because you're a Jew. You do, okay. Look, and therefore, there's necessary, you have to set that Judaism is not just what people do, the way that they act, the Jewish people, the course of the generations. In Maisa B'nai Adam, right? Jews have a little Jewish star or whatever. And the Kol Kula, the whole entire essence of what Judaism is, Kiyum Horasa Torah, doing the Torah. Shenitna B'Sinai, which were given by Sinai, Migavur. So like reform They call it Judaism. It's not Judaism at all. They go to synagogue, they all meet together, they even bring out the Torah, but they're not doing it as because that's what it says in the Torah to do. They're doing it because that's what Jewish people do. It's just a custom, that's what their parents did or whatever. So that's not Judaism. Judaism is that you're doing what Jews did because it was given by God on Mount Sinai. That's what the Rebbe is trying to say, is strengthening the Torah and Judaism. That before you can strengthen Judaism, first of all, you have to strengthen the chazek et emunah. You have to strengthen the faith and the recognition that only the Torah can determine what Judaism is. Ve'ein davar, and the thing does not. 1 minute. The thing does not. Here we go. It's not given to just to regular people that your mind, your decision can decide what Judaism is, but the Judaism, this is what you have to do. Like conservative Judaism. Conservative Judaism says this commandment I'll do. This commandment I'm not going to do. I'm going to do what it says in the Bible, not what the rabbis say, which is not the case. Other things. Asher call prat, every detail in the Torah. Ad lechirush kol talmid vatik, until even what the rabbis say in our last generations. What's the law of electricity? Are you allowed to travel on a ship that works on Shabbat, etc.? Even customs of the Jewish people that have been made in recently, which have been received by the Jewish people, this is a part of the Torah, the Holy Torah, which is the Torah of God, Torah from heaven, that was given to Moshe on Mount Sinai. So we have to stress the Torah. Even a custom of the Jewish people, it says, Minag Yisrael Torah, what is the Torah? So if it's a thing that Jewish people do in order to express their connection to God, and it's done because a connection to God, what God gave on Sinai, then eventually that custom also becomes part of the Torah. So it's understood from this that a person, for instance, there's a lot of Jews that go around and they visit the graves of tzaddikim. Okay, now it says nowhere in the Torah that you're supposed to go and visit the graves of tzaddikim, but it becomes a custom, going to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Lag BaOmer, right? What does it say you're supposed to do a thing like that? But nevertheless, because Jews do it in order to strengthen Judaism, it becomes a custom and it becomes part of the Torah. From this, it's understood that a person that is lenient in even the customs of the Jewish people that were established in the previous generations, because they say, this is what people do. Therefore, therefore you don't have to do them. Right? This is just the rabbis decided. Right? The second day of Yom Tov. Who said just the rabbis decided you have to do it? Right? A person that says like that, you're not just disagreeing with one little detail of Judaism, and you're just missing that you're just missing one or two little things, right? You're not keeping, let's say, the second day of Yom Tov. So what's a big deal? This is the essence of Judaism. In other words, Torah and Judaism are not two separate things. That the whole entire Torah is not what people decide. Every detail, this is a religion that was revealed by God. Eish dat lamo, it says it's a fiery religion. By means of his servants, namely the Chachmim, the wise men of Israel in every generation. Right? The idea that people make up their own Judaism and that they go against the rabbis is no new thing. There were the Tzaddukim. There was a group called the Tzaddukim. They were very wise. They were very successful. Very successful. For a long time, it was a very big mainstream in Judaism, the Tzaddukim, and they disagreed with everything that the rabbis said. They made up their own. They made themselves to be rabbis. But nevertheless, that's what it was. Basically, that's what Christianity is. Christianity is saying that what the rabbis interpreted the Torah is that's their interpretation, but we have our interpretation, right? We accept what every word it says in the Bible, but the rabbi is not. So it says if you disagree with even one of the customs that have been accepted in Judaism in order to serve God, or one of the laws that were explained and made by the rabbis, even the later generations, if they were made by genuine rabbis, as you're denying the whole entire point of the Torah. The whole entire point of the Torah is to do what God says, and only true rabbis really know what God says. And so therefore it says the Torah includes all of, not just the written Torah, but all of the explanations by means of the rabbis in the Talmud and in the books which came after. And not only that, Ella Shita Zu, this idea to divide between the written Torah and the oral Torah, namely these things which are the rabbis taught us according to the 13 attributes of mercy, or that they are what's called the halacha l'Moshe miSinai. There were things which are not written in the Torah at all. It's just a law from Moshe miSinai. For instance, almost everything we do, putting on tefillin, doesn't say anywhere in the Torah you have to put on tefillin. It just says you have to put a sign between your eyes and whatever's the thing, totafos between your eyes and a sign on your arm. You know, what does it mean? It doesn't say that you have to have 2 black boxes and they have to be 4 parchments. These are things that Moses got from Mount Sinai. It doesn't explain what type of work is forbidden on Shabbat. There's 39 general types of service. It doesn't say in the Torah anywhere. These were laws that were given by Moses on Mount Sinai, or they were given to the rabbis afterwards. So it says that's what it means. You have to strengthen Torah and Judaism. Judaism cannot be separated from the Torah. All the laws and etc. that were made by means of the wise men of Israel, the Chachmei Yisrael, in every single generation. This is a person that denies even one of them, just a small thing. This is the opening the door to denying everything, God and everything. The main thing of the Torah Shabbat Peh, the whole thing of the oral Torah is that the Torah, what the rabbis say in the Talmud, is from heaven. And just by the way, I mean, incidentally, it says that the founder of the Christianity, right, the Yashkala, it says in the Talmud that in Sota that he's boiling in hell in a pot of something very not nice because he went against the rabbis. That was his big sin. Not that he made himself to be God and he would destroy Jews and he killed everybody. But the main thing is he went against the rabbis. That's what it says in the Talmud. Gittin. What is it? Page 57. We can say, and so it comes to this. You can say, oh, come on, the Reform rabbis, they're just nice guys. You know, they're not doing anything. Says, yeah, that's how it starts off. That's how it starts off. But the fact of the matter is that that's destroying Judaism. Now, the Rebbe is not threatening people. He's not saying you're going to burn in hell and you're going to do this. He's just saying you're missing the point. You're missing the point. You want to be Jewish. Judaism is important to you. You say that you're a rabbi. You're claiming that your thing is Judaism. So Judaism is important to you. So do it the proper way. Do it the proper way. So the Rebbe is saying, and we have to strengthen this because it doesn't come naturally. Yesh Lomo, we can also say that it's necessary to stress the strengthening the Torah and before strengthening Judaism is in order, like I said, strengthening the Torah and Judaism in every place according to the nature of that place. If strengthening the Torah and Judaism was only a place where all the Jews are wise men and they're sitting and learning in Kfar Chabad and Bnei Brak and Jerusalem or those similar places, as you don't have to make this special stressing of every single place. Strengthen Judaism in every single place according to that place. But it's obvious that every single Jew, if they're Torah scholars, that the whole thing of Judaism is Torah and the Torah comes from God. But Kivan Shem Medubar, because here we're talking about strengthening Judaism in every place according to its topic. Here you have to remember the Rebbe is speaking over here when he made this in 1928. He was talking about in Russia, and the Rebbe once said in a speech that it could be that in Russia are more Jews than the whole world put together in Russia. More Jews than the whole world, but they don't even know that they're Jews. And if their mother didn't know she was Jewish, and maybe even the grandmother didn't know she was Jewish. So we're talking about Jews that are like vaguely, they have this little hint somewhere, they saw their great grandmother light candles. So therefore, that's why the Rebbe said you have to strengthen Torah and Judaism in every single place. Why? Because you might make a mistake and think that Judaism was given lishtanos, that you can change it according to the times and according to the places. And even more, right? It says you're not allowed to light a fire on Shabbat, because then you couldn't push a button and light the fire. Electricity is not fire, right? It's changed. So it says, don't think to say a thing like that. It's not so. Judaism did not change. And we listen to the rabbis. If the rabbis say that electricity is fire, then we have to say it's fire. We can't say, okay, he says yes, but I say no. Right? It's different now. America is different. Maybe that was good for the old country. There's no, don't say, God forbid, God forbid. And the Torah does not change according to the time and places. It becomes more severe. The rabbis sometimes make fences around the Torah, that things become more severe, but they never become more lenient. And even more, one of the places, the Hari Yesh Atar, there's some places where people are very far from Judaism, and it's impossible to have an influence on them, that they should do all of the Torah in a way that, in Atar, in such a place, Yesh Doresh Zeh, Doresh Listapek, therefore you should start off small. Bishtadlut, you should make it Yekaimu Rak Mitzvot Achedot. Tell the people you don't have to do, don't say to the people you don't have to do all the Torah. Say, let's start off small. Everyone try to put on tefillin once a month. Try to put on tefillin once a month. You're supposed to put on every weekday, but I know it's hard for you. So let's start off small. Let's put on once a month. And those people that don't want to put on once a month, call me up. I'll come over to your house and I'll put on you once a month. And those people that don't have tefillin, I'll give you my tefillin. You put on, and you can't pray the whole prayer. You just say Shema Yisrael once a month. And then we'll try next week to do twice a month. And then after that, let's try once a week. And then we'll do once a week, and maybe we'll say, instead of just Shema Yisrael, maybe we'll say a little bit more. In other words, each place is according to its ability. And therefore, when you try to strengthen Judaism in each and every place according to what it is, you have to remember constantly, before you want to strengthen Judaism, you have to strengthen the Torah. That Judaism was established and built only according to the foundation, strengthening the foundation of the Torah. And it was not given to change according to the time and the place. And when we're talking about the Torah here, we're talking about also the Talmud and the Shulchan Aruch, especially the Shulchan Aruch, because that consolidates all the laws of the Talmud. Shulchan Aruch. Like it's explained many places. And the good thing about the Shulchan Aruch and these books, there's a lot of times there's rabbis that write ideas and they support their ideas and they're wrong. And other rabbis disagree with them. And then we have to decide which one is right, which the rabbis say, the ones who bring the best reasons for what they're saying. And that's what Judaism is. Judaism, arguments are very, very good in Judaism. Arguments are encouraged. The whole Talmud is arguments. Because the idea of the Torah is that it has to be internalized. In other words, what the final decision is, you have to realize this is not the rabbis, this is the decision of God. And even though it says in the Talmud that this is the opinion of Rebbe Akiva, or this is the opinion of Beit Hillel, or this is the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan over Reish Lakish, whatever, but nevertheless, you have to understand that this is God speaking through these people. And if you don't think so, then you're going to say, well, maybe God wasn't speaking through Moses also. Maybe who says God speaks to, maybe God doesn't talk to anybody. Maybe God doesn't exist. Who says he even exists? So when you start off thinking strongly, I want to strengthen myself in Judaism, it means to strengthen yourself in all of the laws of the Shulchan Aruch as much as possible. And in the Shulchan Aruch, there's also different opinions. There's different customs according to the Sephardic Jews, according to the Ashkenazi Jews, according to the Hasidic Jews. Chabad has its customs, but everybody puts on tefillin, and everybody keeps Shabbat. Some people have little different opinions if you accept the Shabbos went according to Rabbeinu Tam, according to this. That's all very strongly based in the Torah. And that's the desire to make of the Torah. And it's not that we make up our own ideas. And like we said before, and that's what the previous Rebbe said. He just got out of prison. He's in communist Russia. It's enough that he just keeps quiet and he becomes a religious person with all of his Hasidim and his little group. Says the Rebbe, no. Our whole purpose is to strengthen Judaism and the Torah and Judaism everywhere in the world. And if you're going to do it, it has to be done properly, and it has to be done in every place according to its ability, right? You can't give a little child to eat steaks. You have to give him pablum or whatever it is, little by little. Same thing, people who are like children in Torah, you can't give them everything at one time. And like we explained before many times, when we said of the Mishnah, Havi Talmidiv, you have to be one of the pupils of Aaron. You have to love a piece, and it says, love the creations and bring them close to Torah. You have to bring Jews close to the Torah and not to take the Torah and bring it close to them. In other words, water down the Torah. So say, this is all you have to do. The Horidat the Torah, to bring down the Torah, Ela Briot. Right? The Torah is for you. You're not for the Torah. The Torah tells you things that you want to do. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. No, it's not so. The Torah tells you what the truth is. I'm telling you what the truth is. You do as much as you can now. In other words, you have to bring the people closer to the Torah, convince them how good the Torah is, how good Hashem is, how good the rabbis are. You can't bring the Torah, water the Torah down by means of making all sorts of concessions and pesharos and all sorts of, deals that you make, the goronos, and removing the Torah. You can drive to shul, you can use a microphone on Shabbat, right? No problem. You can, and even if it seems to you, shitachen pesharazu davka toil, even if you think that it's going to work, right? If I don't, it's sakanas nefashos. If I don't let people drive to shul on Shabbos, then the whole shul is going to die, right? You can, in order to save a life, you're allowed to defile a Shabbos. So we have the life of the whole shul. Even though you might think that in order to, you want people to come to hear your wonderful sermons on Shabbat so they can drive. Nevertheless, the kiyum mitzvahs achdos, to do a few mitzvahs, it'll help them. It'll help people that they'll come to shul and at least they'll hear your lectures or something like that. So, like we said before, the Torah is the Torah of truth, and it was not given to make concessions or to make deals or to make leniencies. It was given to every single Jew without looking at the situation of that Jew. It's an obligation to accept all of the Torah and do all of it, little by little. We're not saying all at one time, right? But the goal is to bring people to the Torah and not saying, okay, you did enough. That's enough, right? You came to synagogue, that's good enough. You gave money to the women's auxiliary or whatever it is, that you did great. This does not contradict what the strengthening Judaism is, like we said before, in each place according to its ability. And sometimes you even have to make that little by little, you have to do things little by little, that you're not demanding from everybody that they stop going on Shabbat immediately. You have to say, listen, it's wrong to travel on Shabbat. You have to try not to Shabbat. If a person says, listen, Rabbi, I can't, I work in such a place, I have to do it. You have to say to the person, listen, you have to try. You have to try to figure it out. And give them all sorts of stories about how people that kept Shabbat, it worked. But you can't say you have to stop working on Shabbat or you're going to burn in hell. So the person say, okay, so I'll burn in hell. I'm not going to stop working on Shabbat. Hell, it's a doubt if I'm going to go. If I stop working on Shabbat, for sure, I'm not going to have money. So you work little by little, And also you have to remember that Hashem helps. That if a person makes a decision that he's not going to work on Shabbat, for instance, and so let's say he works a couple of Shabbat, God forbid, right? And he can't really do it. All of a sudden, he starts to figure out he gets a flat tire, so his taxi doesn't work, so he's forced to stay at home. Right? All the garages are closed because they keep Shabbat. So he's forced to stay at home with his family. And finally, he enjoys it. Oh, Daddy, you're home on Shabbat. That's really wonderful. Let's have a meal. little by little, va'ad shemishu hu begeter tinuk. There could be what's called a tinuk shenishba, a child that was brought up obeying the non-Jews, right? A child, the Jewish parents abandoned their child. They were killed by Khmelnytsky, whatever it is. And the non-Jews found the child and they brought up the child as a non-Jew. He thinks he's a non-Jew. As a result, he eats not kosher. He does all the things. He says, when he finds out that he's a Jew, he says, well, all the sins that I've done. He says, don't worry. All those sins that you did are in total ignorance. It's called a tinuk shenishba, which that's pretty much the situation of every Jew nowadays. Every single Jew, you could say, is a tinuk shenishba. And even those Jews that, were rabbis and they left, because they don't know what God is. They have no idea what a person that's a kofar has to be somebody like, Yerovam ben Nevat or someone. Start off doing one commandment. It doesn't mean that you have to make, we're saying that you have to start out little by little. It's not that we're making concessions or we're watering the Torah down. Like we find in regarding learning Torah, that a child, when he starts to learn Torah, Aleph Beit, and then afterwards he gets stronger and stronger, and he learns many things. Also, children, when they come in, it says the first day you give them candies, so that the old learning the Torah is good, because you get candies. That's how you start off. First of all, you teach the child a few letters, and then afterwards he can eventually learn the whole Torah. So it's simple that learning Aleph base with a child is not making a leniency. We're not making Reform Judaism because we're starting off with a little child and say you have to do everything or nothing. As in vitur, we're not making any concessions or removing something in the Torah, but this is the way that you learn things. So it is also regarding to commandments, strengthening Judaism. Main thing of Judaism is the commandments. There's Torah and the commandments, right? And the Torah is learning Torah, and Judaism is that you do the Torah. You do what it says. That's the commandments. Same thing with the Torah. When you are working with people with a child that he hasn't got any idea of what Judaism is, so you have to little by little teach him Aleph Beit, but immediately when he starts, the child that he doesn't, you have to tell the child that Aleph Beit is not the whole Torah, but just how you are now, you're just a child. We begin with doing one commandment, and in the course of time, you'll go stronger and stronger, and you'll do more commandments. This is the teaching, what we're supposed to be learning today. We have to, and this should be a yesod, a foundation, in the celebrating of Yud Beit and Yud Gimel Tammuz. Namely, we should be talking about strengthening Torah and strengthening Judaism. Strengthening Judaism has to be on two basic, there's all these things now on Kiruv work, that there's Kiruv, and there's, strengthening Judaism. It has to be based on two things. Number one, and these are two almost opposite poles. The main thing is that when you're strengthening Judaism, it has to be through the Torah. The Torah is what strengthens Judaism. Name the faith, pure faith, that everything of Judaism is only according to the Torah. And realizing that the Torah comes from God. It is not just a custom. We're not just and it's not human beings doing it at all. Kalal v'chalal, God forbid, Rahman Litzlan. Moses was not doing what he wanted. Rabbi Akiva was not doing what he wanted. But Rabbi Yosef Karo was not doing what he wanted. Right? The Chafetz Chaim and the wrote the what is it? His Mishnah Brura and the Alter Rebbe and the explanations that came out, that they weren't doing what they wanted. They were bringing the word of God, what God said on Mount Sinai. And it's, you have the very important thing, right? God of Jews spoke on Mount Sinai. He took the Jews out of Egypt and he talked to them, all of the Jews. And he gave them a very complicated, very large book. And it has a lot of commandments on it, which most of them are only relevant to the Jews. But still, the Jews bring a message to the world. God cares, and God is very, very exact in details. And one of the details that God gives is the Torah has to be explained properly by proper rabbis. And anyone who has the criteria of a proper rabbi, that's only determined by the Torah. And that's what the Shulchan Aruch is. So you want to spread out Judaism, it has to be true Judaism. So therefore, it's not relevant that you can make any sort of concessions in the Torah, and you cannot you remove ideas of the Torah or whatever. Because just like I am God, I never changed. Also, the same thing is the Torah never changes. Like I said before, the Torah, sometimes the rabbis in the recent generations, they become more severe. They make fences around the Torah and they become more severe, which that's part of the Torah. But the Torah does not become more lenient. The Torah does not remove things. You can't say, well, the rabbis say this, but I say different. Together with this, you have to try to strengthen Judaism in every single place according to where it is. That even though that we're talking about a place where it's very, very far right now from Judaism, the Torah, and they're not going to do the whole entire Torah, but you have to do according to its topic, little by little, right? People that are like children in the Torah, you give them a little bit at first. But together with this, especially because the truth, as you when you go with the truth, then we can succeed and we can even conquer everyone's hearts, because every Jew wants to do all the commandments. That's what they really want to, right? When a Jew believes in God, he knows it's not enough just to believe, that he has to do the commandments. And when he does one commandment, he knows that it's not enough. He has to do more commandments. And even though that each commandment is pure godliness and you're connected to God, infinite God for all time, and technically that's it, you're connected permanently. You're not going to receive anything from doing more commandments. But every Jew wants to do all the commandments. It doesn't make any sense, but that's the essence of a Jew. It is forbidden for a person to remain, how do you say, stand rechok, what is it called? Adish. There's a really good word for it in English. To be, I'll think of the word in a minute, but to be, to stand afar. What's the word? To remain distant. There's a better word for it. You can't just stand distant and say, okay, let the Chabadniks do it. Well, they'll do it. Ka'otama omrim, like they said, that there are people, Shirakim, Yehudim, Yerim, only Jews that are God-fearing and that they're complete. In order to strengthen you have to strengthen the religious people, right? Religious people. What do most rabbis do? And they're right. They have their congregation. And they strengthen the congregation. And every Jew needs strengthening. And that's enough. The Rebbe is saying, no, I'm strengthening it. Not just that. I'm strengthening you, and I'm telling you that your job is you must go out and strengthen other Jews. And even when we're talking about Jews that don't want anything to do with Judaism, present them with an opportunity. Give them a choice. Show them what Judaism is. Don't think that, yes, you have to spread Judaism to people who are already religious. You have to strengthen them. You have to make them more religious, right? You have to make them more religious. Says the Rebbe, no. The whole essence of what the previous Rebbe is saying, and that's why we're saying that the Rebbes of Chabad are Moshiach, because they're trying to arouse all of the Jews to do all of the Torah and the commandments. And this is what he's saying to do now. He's saying to do now, little by little, according to the person, right? Don't give him too much. It's like putting in front of a person all the food that he's ever going to eat in his whole life, right? One big pile, eat it. You can't do that. Little by little, you have to give it to the person. The same thing, you meet a Jew that doesn't know anything about Judaism, at least say a good word to him so he knows that a religious Jew is not an evil person. Okay, listen, in Israel especially, it's changing now in Israel, but the media and the press it makes a very, very concerted effort to put the religious people in a bad light. And as a result, a lot of the religious people, they just keep away from the non-religious people because they know that they've been indoctrinated to hate. So they keep away from it, which the religious people enjoy that. I'm separate, you keep away from me, I'll keep away from you. Right? It's a good thing. Here the Rebbe is saying, perhaps there was never a place where religious people were looked at with such a negative eye as in Russia. I don't know. I mean, in Israel, it's pretty bad. The fact is, it was. Now it's different. But they're really making a big effort nowadays to make separate. So the Rebbe says, forget about what people think about you. That's not your thing. Forget about what what they're taught in university and what the media says and what the papers say. What people think about you. You have to look at the person according to the truth. He's a Jew. The person's a Jew. So at least maybe you can dispel a little bit of his hatred for you. Answer in a nice way. I'm telling you, I told you the story. I'll tell it again. I go every day for half an hour. Since the war started, the Rebbe said going out and putting tefillin on Jews, it helps the soldiers. Helps the soldiers. And that's what the Rebbe said before the 6 Day War. We should go and put tefillin on Jews in the streets and everything. And it was unheard of then. And we did it, and we won the 6 Day War, right? 6 Day War. Okay, you can say that it was a fluke, whatever, but the Rebbe said not. The putting on tefillin helps the Jewish people and especially the soldiers. So I've been going, ever since the war started here, I've been going every day to put on tefillin in a nearby public place. So one fellow, I asked him, and there's a lot of people that don't want to. A lot of people already do put on. A lot of people do put on tefillin. There's even a lot of people that put on tefillin that don't know how, that they've never done it before. They put on tefillin. So every day, I'd say 5 people, 10 people. One person I went by, I said, would you like to put on tefillin? And the guy cursed me out. Get out of here, you religious people. You're destroying the whole country. And, go get a job to go to this. So I said to him, okay, be well. You should have good news. I said, be well, have besurah tova. You should have good news. He stopped. He turned around and he said, I needed that. He said, what? He said, a good word. I needed that. So I said, oh, maybe put on tefillin. He said, no way. But it changed for 1 second his whole idea. Somebody said a nice word to him, which people don't do that. And it was a religious guy with a beard. He said a nice word to me. Maybe the religious people aren't so bad. Maybe this guy's an exception, but maybe not. Maybe he's not an exception. And not only that, previously he thought there were no exceptions. All the religious people were just selfish and nobody thought about anybody else. So even to say a good word to somebody, that's also to make a person feel a little bit better. That's also a mitzvah. But that starts it off. But you should never be satisfied with yourself or also with other Jews. The Jews are infinite, and they want to do the Torah and the commandments. So you can never tell a Jew, that's enough. You don't have to keep Shabbat. You don't have to keep kosher. You don't have to keep the 2nd day of Yom Tov. You don't have to keep the muktzah on Shabbat. Where did this muktzah come from on Shabbat? You don't have to do it. That's from the rabbis. Don't do it. You're doing a big disfavor to the person. And you're lying. Ella, but you have to make an effort with all of your ability to bring the Jews closer to the Torah and the commandments. Maybe you have to do it little by little, but the goal is clear. Like the Baal Shem Tov said, Al Gadol Inyan of the mitzvah of loving every Jew means to love every single Jew, even a Jew that you never saw him before in your life. And of course, I'll add on, even a Jew that you did see him and you can't stand him. You have to say every Jew, there's something. It doesn't mean you have to give the guy money. It doesn't mean you have to go and hug him and say good things about him, right? And if somebody says, should I loan this guy money? Should I go into business with him? Say, oh, yes, I love him. You should say, listen, the fact of the matter is that you're asking me, this man is not an honest person. You should not do, right? He said, but on the other hand, you have to love him because there's something redeemable in that person. He's a Jew. He'll come to his senses. Right? Hopefully, at least I'm looking at him positively. You can't say it's a lost cause. Commotion is like it's explained in another place that the intention in this is also in the spiritual things. Shegam Yehudi, also a Jew, which is far away from Judaism, until you can say he has got no connection to Jewish people and Jewish life at all. You're not Jewish. Hinegam Oto, that person also you have to love in order to bring him close to Torah and the commandments. And this is really found today, people who are like openly against Judaism and the Jewish people and everything, especially in Israel. We have the ruling class in Israel, and it's a terrible thing to say, but it's the fact, right? anything that even has the littlest sign of anything Jewish, they're against. They're against anything that is little bit Jewish, nothing whatsoever, to put a mezuzah on your door to keep Shabbat, to eat kosher. No, no way. They're not going to do it. Right? They would rather any other religion, any other philosophy. They would rather the Hamas, the Arab, the worst Arabs, than the religious people. They took away land from the religious. That's how did the Arabs get Gaza? Because the government took away land from the religious people that lived there, and they gave it to terrorists. They kicked the people out. So even those people, who are, who knows how deep their antipathy to Judaism is, how much they hate, how deep their decision is that they're going to keep away from Judaism. Those people also you have to love. You have to love them also. In Igam Oto also you have to love until, and you see a lot of times that it works, especially now in the time of this war. The village where it was attacked by the Arab was perhaps the most non-religious, anti-religious, pro-Arab. This Kfar Beri, it was called. That whole area, they wanted to make peace with the Arabs, and it was supposed to be the next day. They were supposed to make a festival together with the Arabs together, right? Those people really think that we're a conquering nation and that the Arabs deserve the land just like we do, and we have no special identity. Right? And a lot of those people are saying, wow, we really made a mistake. These people, and especially now what's happening now is that God is doing something amazing. Non-Jews, regular, normal people, they hate the Jews and they don't know what Jews are. They don't know, they don't even call it hating Jews. They call it anti-Semite. What's a Semite? You ever see a Semite walking down the street? Excuse me, sir, are you a Semite? Right? I'm a Semite? If so, I hate you. What does it mean? What's an anti-Semite? Right? Say, no, I'm an anti-Jew. Semites, I guess, are supposed to be, the Arabs also claim to be from Shem, so anti-Semite. So it's like the people with no identity. They try to make no identity whatsoever, and they hate them. Suddenly you're hating because you're a Jew. What does it mean? I didn't even know it meant anything. All of a sudden, and it is not just I don't like you because you're a Jew. I don't trust you. I hate you because you're a Jew. I hate you. I want to kill you because you're a Jew. What does it mean? I don't think I got a sign. Somebody put a sign on my back, kicked me or something. What is this thing, Judaism? What is it? What do they see in me that they hate? What is it? Suddenly you realize, oh, this is connected to God. They hate me because they hate God. And I also have no idea what God is. I also am not so in favor of God. I don't even know what it is. And all of a sudden they're all bringing up Jewish people were God, they hate me. What's going on? And suddenly it's waking Jews up. Jews are starting to wake up. Maybe being a Jew is something really important. And our job is to connect this to Torah and the commandments. Don't say it's enough. Come to synagogue, you're a good Jew. Come and live in Israel, you're a good Jew. Right? Coming to synagogue is a beginning. You want to come and live in Israel? Come and live in Israel. But don't think that that's enough. Like they said, that's what the Baal Shem Tov said, that every Jew is precious to God, no matter who that Jew is. Like it's explained in the book of the Tanya, Mi she'eno, a person that does not. Whoa, this is pretty long over here. A person that does not, Mi she'eno. It says you should. It says even if he's not like you in Torah mitzvahs and he's not close to you, nevertheless it's forbidden to hate him. V'gam imra'ah, even if you see that a person is doing sins, you should try to make excuses for him. On this it says, Hillel Lazak and Ebed Makalmi Shalom, to be one of the pupils of Aaron, love peace, love the creations, bring them close to Torah. And others to say that you have to draw them with thick ropes of love, and maybe you can bring them closer to Torah. That's the teaching of the previous Rebbe. And that's what was freed on Yud Beis Yud Gimel Tammuz. And by means of doing this work and loving every Jew, and every single Jew, we merit to the blessing of God. Like it says, Berchenu Avinu, God bless us, kulanu ke'echad, when we are all one. When the Jewish people are all one, and every Jew sees something good in every other Jew, and the common factor of what every Jew is, and that we're not depending on the Goyim to hate all the Jews and put us in a corral, that we're all the same, whether we knew it or not, we're the same animal, that we come to realize that being a Jew is a really good thing. Until the main blessing is the Geula Mitit Shlema, the complete redemption by means of the Moshiach, B'meira B'yameinu Mamish. So the Rebbe is trying to activate all of his Hasidim, to activate all of the Jews to do the Torah, to do the commandments according to the Torah, according to the Shulchan Aruch, the rabbi, the rabbinical laws, every single detail of them. And that is what will connect all of the Jews to the Creator in a complete way and reveal the essence of what the Jewish soul is, awakening the Jews. And then God will also awaken and take us out of this terrible exile that we're found in now. Let us now do the Yom Yom. This is how we go.